What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you the top 5 players that need to be traded right now. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey Trash Talkers, over 85% of you are still not subscribed to the channel. Please be sure to hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications, as it will help us create more daily content for you. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Alright Nick, with the season fully underway, we see the league really taking shape, and we see some teams that we thought had really good strengths either lose players to injury, or maybe they weren't as strong as we once thought they were. Maybe they just aren't living up to expectations. Nonetheless, there's always players that are on the trade block and teams that need those sorts of players. So I have come up with a list of five players that I think need to be traded right now. I want to hear from you. Where do you think they should end up? So I want to start off with number 1, Marlon Mack, the running back from the Indianapolis Colts. He has not been utilized well. They have gone with Nyheim Hines. They have gone with Jonathan Taylor. Hell, they have gone with literally anybody but this guy. They keep him inactive. So this is a guy who's too talented to sit on the bench. Where do you think he should end up?
Well, I think there's two places in the NFL that need a running back right now, the 49ers being the most obvious, but the second being the New England Patriots. I think the New England Patriots have some holes. Damian Harris is working through some injuries, and James White went on IR a few weeks ago. I think the Patriots are one of those teams creeping up the board as they desperately need a running back, and Marlon Mack is available. But I believe that the 49ers need a running back more than anybody. They've had a rotation of running backs come through that locker room, and they continuously get injured one by one. They just don't find a way to stay healthy. I don't know what it is about the 49ers, whether it's something that they're feeding their players, but they just all get hurt. And Marlon Mack, he's dealt with his injuries too, but he is a guy who is fully healthy and can help them. The 49ers are a team that can make the playoffs, that can compete against the best teams in the NFL. You need a running game, though, and Marlon Mack can offer you that. He's a big bruiser and was massive for the Colts before Jonathan Taylor came along. I believe Marlon Mack can return back to form, be that guy again, be that workhorse. And the 49ers can take a shot on this guy because they really don't have many other options.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Sermon has not panned out well so far. Eli Mitchell is still working his way back, but he didn't look all that great when he was thrown out there as the workhorse back for this team. And with Trey Lance, they're going to want to run a lot of triple option, a lot of RPO, and that takes a running back that has to be feared as somebody who can actually take off with the football. Marlon Mack could be that guy for this offense. We don't know how long Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out, but they need a run game to offset Trey Lance so he doesn't get absolutely destroyed by opposing defensive lines. I like this fit a lot, and I think Marlon Mack should end up in San Francisco. All right, the next player that I think needs to be traded, Allen Robinson, the wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. Listen, I understand that Justin Fields has now taken over full-time as QB1, and Allen Robinson might have better looks, but the fact is they are wasting this guy's talent. Go get a pick, build around Justin Fields. Allen Robinson's not going to be staying for another season just to play with Justin Fields. So you might as well get something for him now. Where do you think Allen Robinson could end up?
Yeah, again, there's two teams that stick out to me. One being the New England Patriots. Shocker. Mac Jones looks fantastic, but I agree with some of other analysts are saying. He needs better weapons. He is limited by what is in the locker room right now, and he can't just work with 2 tight ends. He needs big name wide receivers, big play wide receivers. Allen Robinson is that. He can run every single route. He can burn defenses. He is one of the best route runners in the league. That's what makes him an elite receiver. He is being underutilized in Chicago, but he can be utilized up to his value, up to his potential in New England. I believe that is one of the best landing spots. Another one being the Indianapolis Colts, which right now I'm favoring a little bit more because of how depleted they are at the position. You have Michael Pittman, you have Zach Pascal. I just don't think that anybody else on the roster is going to do the job. And you need a big name receiver. Michael Pittman, he's honestly just another Tyler Boyd. He's another big slot receiver, and I don't think that he can play on the outside. Allen Robinson for sure can. He's proven that he can. And Carson Wentz, if he's going to be successful on this team, he needs a big name wide receiver like Allen Robinson. T.Y. Hilton may be coming back, but that is somebody you cannot trust. I think that Allen Robinson is someone you can. He doesn't have an injury history. He's somebody that will come in, you can count on each and every week, and you can count on him to secure a lot of his targets.
I think the Indianapolis Colts make a lot of sense for Allen Robinson. I think Chicago has found themselves in a position where obviously they're not competing, especially with Green Bay coming back to form, looking like the traditional Packers that they are with Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Devonte Adams. But at the end of the day, Allen Robinson is a big piece that they could get a good haul from. We saw what Amari Cooper went for just a couple of seasons ago. We've seen what some of these wide receivers go for. Allen Robinson's still in his prime. If you send him to an offense that thinks they can compete, I think you're going to get a nice bag of draft picks back for him, and it costs you literally nothing. So I like the move to Allen Robinson, but another wide receiver that has already voiced his displeasure and does not want to be with the team that he currently is on is wide receiver Michael Thomas of the New Orleans Saints. Michael Thomas, previously to the start of the season, was basically singing from the high heavens that he didn't want to be here. He was placed on the physically unable to perform list because he had surgery so late in the offseason. Now he can't come back till week 7. So it's going to be hard for the Saints to trade him. But if he can come back and show that he is back to normal form, the Saints have to think about moving this guy because he doesn't want to be there. And again, you can get a lot for him. So where do you see Michael Thomas going?
Yeah, I think Michael Thomas has a couple fits here. The wide receivers in the NFL right now aren't playing that great overall, and I think Michael Thomas being one of the best in the NFL has a lot of landing spot potential, but I think the two teams to look out for are the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, they have Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. But what has Brandon Ayuk done? What has George Kittle done for you? It's really just the Deebo Samuel show, and they could really use a guy like Michael Thomas. The unfortunate part is Deebo and Michael Thomas both run slant routes over the middle of the field. They love playing over the middle of the field. I don't think you can have two of those players. But I believe the Green Bay Packers could for sure utilize the services of Michael Thomas. Devonte Adams, always going to be on the outside. He'll never run over the middle of the field. He'll always have that room to work with all game long. And Aaron Rodgers being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, he's going to be great with Michael Thomas. I think this is a match made in heaven, and that would make the Packers the strongest team in the NFL.
Yeah, I think it'd be a little tough for the New Orleans Saints to swallow sending Michael Thomas to Green Bay to be with Aaron Rodgers and Devonte Adams. You know, that the Saints are not willing to essentially give a Super Bowl run to the Green Bay Packers in the form of Michael Thomas without what would be an absolute haul of draft picks. I'm thinking in the realm of maybe 3, 4 first round draft picks. I mean, it's going to take a lot to send him to Green Bay. The price gets heightened because of who they are to the New Orleans Saints. So when it's all said and done, I think those picks work well. I think the Colts and the Patriots also need to be brought into the conversation as we did with Allen Robinson. I think there's a couple of other teams as well that should really take a look at Michael Thomas and see what his availability is moving forward. All right. That's enough for the receivers. Why don't we go over to the tight end position, and one that I think is being underutilized greatly? That would be David Njoku. Where do you think David Njoku could end up?
Yeah, the two best landing spots right now for David Njoku would be the Tennessee Titans or the Los Angeles Chargers. I really like what I'm seeing from Jared Cook so far. I think that he's going to get even better once he gets better chemistry with Justin Herbert. So I don't think that is his best landing spot. I'm taking the Tennessee Titans here. I believe that the Tennessee Titans, with A.J. Brown being hurt, Julio Jones dealing with injuries, it can't just be the Derrick Henry show. David Njoku would be a huge asset to this team. He would take over that Jonnu Smith role, which is a huge hole that they did not fill. Anthony Fursker is not doing the job. And Njoku can also help out in run blocking with Derrick Henry. I believe that he is a very versatile player that will fit in this system, and he could go a long way on this roster.
I love David Njoku. I loved him coming out of college. I loved him in the draft. I think the Browns have underutilized him by getting Austin Hooper and Harrison Bryant and really utilizing them more in the passing game than David Njoku. I think he is a very athletic tight end that can be asked to do a lot of things. I like the Chargers, although Jared Cook has been looking really strong with the team, so I'm not sure they're willing to move on from Jared Cook or even replace him at this point. I like the Titans fit a lot. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. But another team, and we talked about them on Friday, I want you to seriously consider this. What about the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers, they just traded away Dan Arnold to get CJ Henderson, and Dan Arnold didn't have to do too much in that offense because DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson are getting a lot of the targets, and once Christian McCaffrey is back, he's going to bite into that as well. I think that the Panthers are on their way to being one of the strongest teams in the NFL, and they could for sure make themselves even stronger if they added a guy like David Njoku. I want to see what they have in a guy like Tommy Tremble, their rookie tight end. I think that he is a similar size and build to David Njoku, so I'm just not sure how they would do with two of the same player until I see a little bit more from Tommy Tremble and get a firm grasp on what he's all about and what he can offer. I'm going to hold firm that the Tennessee Titans are the team for David Njoku.
All right, one more team before we move on to our final player, the New York Jets.
All right, yeah, the New York Jets, they're starting to get all the receivers back, and the tight end position is still lacking. Tyler Kroft dealing with injuries, Ryan Griffin being the guy they have to rely on. But again, he is more of an Anthony Fursker. He is a run blocker purely. And when you need a pass catcher, when you need an athletic pass catcher from the tight end position, David Njoku is all that. Zach Wilson and David Njoku would be a great pairing. I believe that would work really well. I just don't know if David Njoku is going to be utilized as much as he wants to in New York. Zach Wilson already has the chemistry building with his wide receivers, and adding another piece to that in the middle of the season, I just don't know how well that's going to work if David Njoku is going to be in a worse spot now than that he currently is with the Cleveland Browns. He is seeing 4 to 5 targets a game from the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if he's even going to get that from the New York Jets.
I think some of these teams could really utilize a big tight end one, and it seems like the Browns have three of them. So I think that David Njoku really needs to get traded, and any of the teams that we mentioned would be lucky to have him. All right, for our final pick, we have a defensive player. I know, shocking, but we do have somebody who came to mind, and mainly because he has remained productive even through the latter part of his career. He has shown a tendency to want to not only win, but also lead his position group, and that would be Fletcher Cox of the Philadelphia Eagles, the defensive tackle, the star stud that he is, just an absolute machine. He can rush the passer, he can stop the run, he can do it all. Nick, where do you think Fletcher Cox could end up?
Yeah, a couple teams, starting off with the Green Bay Packers. I think that their run game has not improved at all over the last few seasons. Their run defense is one of the poorest in the NFL, and it's not getting any better. They just signed Jalen Smith, which is a step in the right direction. I think he'll help out in the run game a little bit, but you definitely need to bolster that defensive line. And Fletcher Cox is one of the best eaters when it comes to running backs. He will absolutely devour the tackle in front of him and the running back behind him. I believe that Fletcher Cox would be a huge asset to the Packers, but the team I'm going with is the Los Angeles Rams, because why not? Why not the Los Angeles Rams? You got Aaron Donald. Why not add Fletcher Cox right next to him? Aaron Donald being the best pass rusher, I'll say, in the NFL history. I think Fletcher Cox is a great offset because what Aaron Donald can't do is stop the run. Fletcher Cox is exactly that. They are a perfect pairing. That is the best 1-2 punch at defensive tackle that we would ever see in our lifetime. It would be monstrous. The Los Angeles Rams would not only be the best team in the NFL, I think they would be undefeated for the rest of the season.
You're talking about the 70s Steelers with Mean Joe Green. You're talking about the Purple People Eaters. And there's a lot of defenses that would really be in the same echelon if Fletcher Cox went to the Los Angeles Rams. And you talked about it a little bit, that Fletcher Cox, obviously stout against the run, The Rams currently rank number 31 in the NFL out of 32 teams against the run. I mean, this is not Aaron Donald's strong suit. Teams have found a weakness on the Los Angeles Rams where they can exploit, absolutely destroying this defensive line. So Fletcher Cox and Aaron Donald on the same defensive line, I think that's a little too scary, even for Halloween right around the corner. So at the end of the day, I think that, that might be a pipe dream, but if the Rams do it, it might be all over at that point. So we got to see exactly how this plays out. But I do believe Fletcher Cox needs to be on the move. Philadelphia is getting younger. They're getting faster. They're changing the way things are done. Brandon Graham out for the season. Fletcher Cox needs to move on. All right, well, I want to hear from you guys. We brought in 5 players that need to be traded right now. Where do you think they should end up? Let us know in the comments down below. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.